All right. We are the Anti-Starving Artists by Launching Creative. Today we have a very special guest. Stephanie Holland is a startup coach. She's a digital strategist. She's the creator of Wild Vision Strategy. And I'm here to ask her a really quick, literally I can't talk, a really quick question. So Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Love it. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So you're an entrepreneur. You, as we can see in the background, you are a world traveler. We've been talking. This is beautiful Mexico. And so the question I have is actually very relevant. If someone were to come up to you and say, this idea of being a creative professional, of being an artist for a living, it's just not realistic. It can't really be done. You can have that as a hobby, but as far as earning a living, as far as surviving, you need to get a real job, work in an office, become a lawyer, something like that. How would you respond to them?
Well, it's interesting because if you just take a really, really quick look around you, everything came from an idea from someone, right? So there are tons of creative people throughout the course of time who've had these ideas for inventions, from wheels to tables to cars to all these kind of things. Like the world runs on the creative imagination of people. And that creativity is an essential part of all of us. So there are some people who consider themselves either creative or not creative. It's almost like we have to kind of choose which category, or we're put in one category as from a very young age. And what I want to say is that actually creativity is part of our makeup, is part of who we are. Every single human being is creative. So if you're kind of thinking of creative people as being the others, you're disowning a really beautiful and important part of yourself. And secondly, I think that really, I mean, the onus is on the creative people to learn and to make it their mission, make it their business to understand the business side of making their ideas a sustainable business reality. Because otherwise, they're just giving away their power to other people who consider themselves uncreative but very good at the business or the financial side, who are going to make money from your ideas anyway. So why not keep that power? And it doesn't have to be that you learn the accounting or you do the books or you do all the boring business stuff or implementation stuff. I mean, oh my goodness, I hate implementation. It could mean that yes, you skill yourself on some aspects, especially when you're starting up and you're a one-man band. But really what it means is that you can, bring other people in, bring those skill sets in towards you, bring in the freelancers, the graphic designers, or, other aspects of creativity you're not good at, bring in accounting, bring in, you need to get done. Use freelancers for that, use a VA for that, use someone to do your admin. Um, or partner up with people, go into joint ventures or agreements or partnerships, get those skills in place, because just like people, business thrives in wholeness. And when you create that wholeness and you fill in those gaps, that's when you can thrive. So rather than giving away your power and just saying, oh, I'm a creative professional, I'm never going to make any money out of this, I'm just going to do it as a hobby, think about how you can bring in those skill sets to supplement what you're missing so that you can focus on your zone of genius and follow your creative vision while also building a business for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a really great answer. And when you talk about the way we act, where it's kind of like one or the other, it makes me think of, I'm pretty sure it's Picasso who said it. It's a famous Picasso quote, I think, as far as, it's something along the lines, I know I'm going to mess it up, but something along the lines of every child is an artist, or everyone's born an artist, and the trouble is remaining an artist as you become an adult. Something along those lines. But I think there's so much truth to that because, I mean, every kid I know of, I mean, my nieces and my nephews, and when I was a kid, I mean, everyone loves to color or to play with a coloring book, and so it's really interesting. It's funny, I think, how people become less and less creative as adults, and then they think, well, that's silly or that's unrealistic, when it's very human to be creative.
Right, and there are so many ways to make money out of your thing, even if it's really, really weird. I met a guy from Austria who said his friend actually was able to give up his job this year because he had started to become very successful at selling these something like a death or a devil's mask. There's a special festival in that's celebrated in Austria. You know how Mexico has Day of the Dead?
Hmm.
In Austria, that and I really should bring this up without knowing the full facts, but anyway, he makes these crazy, scary devil masks, and he sells them at 400 euros a pop, and I think he sold
Wow.
600 this year. So he was actually able to, to transform that from a hobby to a full-blown business because he was
Wow.
just doing so well. So he started off, evenings and weekends, but he found that as he got more successful, he wasn't able to, he didn't have enough time to actually fill the demand. So he was able to give up his job. So you know what? Just keep doing what you're doing. It'll tip over eventually. If it doesn't, you need to tweak and modify. Then it'll tip over eventually, and then that can be your business.
Yeah, again, I think that's an amazing answer. And like you said, if it doesn't work, you can tweak and modify. It's not like it's set in stone. So I love it. So Stephanie, this really is great. I mean, this has just been awesome. And for anyone who's watching, if you like this, we have an entire podcast interview with Stephanie Holland. So you can just click on the link below. It'll take you straight there. We have all the show notes. Yeah, we go and very much more in depth in all this stuff, and it's very inspiring. So Stephanie, thank you so much for your time. This really has been awesome.
Oh, no worries, Nick. Thank you, and love from Mexico.
I love it. All right. Well,